realistically, we were becoming like more and more valuable to the marketplace. Like you said, like there was uniqueness to us. And I think that's a really special way to look at it. The more skills you get, the more valuable you are, and nobody can replace you. Whether you are an employee working for corporate, and if you can become that, if you can be that person in the business that can do every little thing, that knows the intricacies of how things work, and you're irreplaceable, like, I mean, you're kind of bulletproof there, right? Welcome back to The Donkey
and the Bee,
where men are jackasses
and women are biatches,
where we work together to build an extraordinary life.
Tune in to up your game in your marriage, entrepreneurship, and finances. Welcome back to another episode of The Donkey and the Bee with your hosts, Brett and Laura Shakavis. We got the jackass and the biatch right here coming at you, talking about all things marriage, entrepreneurship, and finances, the good, the bad, the ugly, the successes, the failures, and all in between. That's what we talk about on this show.
Man, that sounds pretty epic.
Are you excited? You pumped up?
I'm super excited. Okay. Well, good. Well, we got a good topic today. We're talking about how to get rich. And we're talking about it in the perspective of acquiring skills. Okay? Acquiring skills is what I will say is the strategy to make a good amount of money or a crazy amount of money, right? There's a lot of different benefits to having skills. You can say these things for all sorts of different aspects of your life, but we're going to talk about it today in the context of let's make some damn money here, right? Because we're not going to be talking about how to go to college or get your master's or something like that, right? Like that's just a piece of paper. Let's talk about some skills that will allow you to have life-changing results, financially speaking.
This kind of reminds me of a few friends that we know that are our age. So I'm in my late 30s, you're in your 40s, but that's beside the point. They're not young anymore. They're not spring chickens, but they feel the need to go back to college to get a master's in order to then make more money. And I remember when they were telling us this, we had to bite our tongue because our first thought was, why wouldn't you just work on yourself, acquire some more skills to make, they're not entrepreneurs, to make, their employer more money, which in turn will then cause their employer to want to pay them more money. Because a piece of paper, me personally I wouldn't want to give more money away to an employee who has a degree personally. I feel like, how do I even know what you've learned even correlates to this position in particular? So we kept our mouth shut and we were very kind and encouraging, but in our thoughts, we're like, man, why don't you just go like grow yourself, grow a skill? Yeah.
So we've had multiple friends kind of like this. They make good money. They're like, okay, how do I make even more money, right? And they went and spent I think it was close to six figures.
That's a lot of money.
2 years, right? They're still working their job. They still have young kids. So crazy busy already. Now let's add this master's program onto it so I can get in debt, $100,000 or something similar, so that I can go to my boss and say, hey, I deserve a better raise. I can qualify to apply for this position. Like you said, I agree. I would not pay someone more money because they have another line on their resume. It means nothing to me. Show me how you can solve a problem. Solve a bigger problem that makes the company more money, and I'm happy to share that money with you, right? But those are skill sets, right? That's what we want to talk about today. Skills equal bills, right? That's how we bring in them dollar bills. What are those skills?
We need some dollars right now. Just like, boom, 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 boom,
I know,
it rain.
Right? So I think that's silly. Let's talk about something different here. Let's talk about how really successful people get ahead, right? It is by growing themselves, by creating new skills. And we'll unpack, where to start and what that looks like. So another example we see, a different kind of avatar of people are people who, they don't have high level skills, right? They have entry level skills. They can, be a cashier. They can, check people out. They can be a receptionist. Those are skills, but they're kind of $20 an hour skills. And I see a lot of people that are like, hey, I am not making enough money to take care of my family. I'm making $20 an hour as a receptionist at this, dentist office. Who knows what it is, right? And they're like, well, I need to go get a better job, right? I need to go trade this opportunity for another opportunity that also has entry-level skills. I can go get a job at this other, right? If it was a dentist office, maybe now
lawyer's office or something.
Sure, in a lawyer's office, right? I can make $22 an hour over there. And I just gave myself a raise by 10%, right? People are coming at it from that perspective, not from the perspective of, okay, I have entry-level skills. How do I increase these skills? What if I could make my dentist or my doctor more money? What if I could start closing? What if I could create some type of follow-up system for them, right? They're not thinking that way. They're just thinking, okay, let's take this job and let's trade it. I'm still gonna work my 40 hours and I'm gonna go over here to this position and take my same skill set with me, entry-level skills. So I think that's a big problem. And I see most of the time, whether you are working paycheck to paycheck or whether you're kind of middle class in that middle class trap, you're still going these two ways that I think are not the way to really a good income, good or great or exceptional income. Most people who have an exceptional income didn't go either of these two routes. They grew themselves. They worked on their skills and it took a long period of time and they built skills that got results, and then they compounded those skills with new skills together that made them this BA business machine that is super valuable to the marketplace.
Two things I want to say. First one is we can't expect anything different from the culture now or the kids nowadays or even the young 20s, young 30s. They've been taught to go to school, go to college, spend a ton of money, pull out debt to go to college. Then you graduate, then you get the job, and then you have to get the job because you pay off your student loan debt. And then so that's why you're looking for the next best thing. So we can't expect anything else different because that's what they've been ingrained to do. That's what their parents did. That's what their parents are teaching them to do. And that's what they will teach their kids as well. So, you can't expect anything different. Unless you were listening to the show and your eyes are opening and you're like, oh my goodness, wow, there is a different way. Second thing is we learned another way and we are deciding to teach our girls a different path. We learned, I think, a little bit late in the game. Granted, I still feel really young and chipper, and I still feel like I'm a college student. But besides the point, we are teaching our girls, we started teaching them before they could even talk, pretty much, how to sell. And so I think that's the skill that we are going to be talking about next. But I wanted to kind of wet the whistle a little bit on is I feel like if you could sell, you can make money. If you can sell anything, if you could sell this cup to, an individual on the street or this pen to someone, I feel like if you have that skill set, then you can be successful in any area.
Yeah, you can be ugly, untalented, with literally no legs, and if you can sell, you're gonna make hundreds of thousands of dollars at least.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right? That is where to start. So that's literally what we started with our daughters when they were 4 and 6 years old. They made jewelry. And then it was like, well, now you have this product. How do you make some money? Mm-hmm. Let's teach you how to sell. Let's teach you how to walk up to some of these women. Here's a presentation, right? Here's what you need to say. Here's your elevator pitch. Here's how you
ask for permission. We'd always say, ask for permission. It's this whole thing that we would teach them. And it worked, not just because they're young and cute, but because they had the appropriate script to say.
Yeah, and a structure.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is where I would tell anyone to start, right? If you are fresh out of college or you have a job that it's like, this is just not for me. I'm making my $20 an hour and I want something better, right? I would say this is the first skill, selling. If you can sell, you can make money. So go get some type of sales job, really. Go get some books, go get some podcasts in your ears and just listen to this stuff. That was really kind of how we started, right? We quit our jobs waiting tables and decided we're gonna flip houses. The first thing I did was learn how to sell, right? How do I buy discounted real estate? It's really selling. And then it was, well, now how do I manage leads and work a system and follow up on leads, right? You have to have leads in order to sell. So it was like, how do I make, 50 cold calls a day, 100 cold calls a day, right? This is where you should start, is working leads, selling, because you're learning other skills in there too. You're learning communication. You're learning to overcome rejection. There's a lot of things that are important. Those are literally the first things that we taught our 4 and 6-year-old, and then we grew from there. And that's exactly what we did ourselves. So many people, if they decided not to go to college, right? This is the fantastic place to start. You need to sell everything. Every business has products to sell. Everything in this life is all about sales. I mean, anytime you go any store, everything is being sold to you, actively or passively. Like, it's all sales. There's always something that you believe in, a product you believe in that you could go and sell.
I think you said something there that I think is really important. It's the word rejection and the word fail. I think those two things have a big negative correlation in a lot of people's minds, which is understandable because no one wants to be rejected, no one wants to fail. But I think the only way to really achieve these skills is to be rejected and also to fail. So don't be scared of getting out there and stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something that maybe you haven't done before, because the only way you're going to get better at it is by doing it. And by doing it the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time, you're going to suck. And it's not going to feel good. You don't, because again, no one wants to suck at anything. And so I think that was one thing that was hard for me in the beginning, was like, man, I want to do these things because I don't know if I'm the right person for this. I just don't think I'm that good at it. Like, you say all these stupid things in your mind. But then when you actually do it and then you see yourself getting better at it, you get more confident in it, and then you want to do that thing more because you're getting better at it.
Yeah, of course. So if we started from this perspective of, okay, I work for some company, right? I'm not an entrepreneur. I have a boss. I work for some company. If you didn't like your position, I would say, here's where you should start. You have whatever your job already is, right? Let's go get a second position at that company. Maybe you don't have to quit. Maybe you can start kind of a transition. Can I come in one day a week and learn this other position, right? I am trying to add more value to the business. If you came up to me and said, hey, you know what? I'll even come in on my days off, right? Like, I want to come, I want to learn, I want to shadow, I want to make more sales for the company. I want to solve a problem for the company. Starting with sales or some other problem that you see, I'm gonna be like, yeah, let's do that. I'm excited for you. I want you to grow, right? If you came to this perspective with like, hey, I want to learn, I want to grow, not, hey, I want to pick up an extra 8 hours, right? Like, I need an extra $160 a week. Like, that's not really, the lesson here, right? Like, if you can start there with wherever you're currently at, or maybe you know someone, pick up a job on the side. Maybe if it's all commission based and you need to be able to cover your rent and everything, then have it be an extra 1 or 2 days a week. But learn these skills because they are skills. It's not like there's people who can sell because they're born that way and people who cannot. There are definitely people born to communicate and they're just way better at it than you. But nonetheless, there is a talent side to it, and there's also a skill, meaning you can be the most untalented person. And if you learn the word tracks, the structure, the rebuttals, the tone of your voice, you can sell and you can make money. And salespeople make amazing money relative to a lot of the other, employee kind of positions out there. So start there, and then it's like, okay, well, what is the next thing that I can grow? How can I add more value to my business the company that I'm working for, right? Like, can I now learn some management skills? Can I hire people? Can I fire people, right? Those are other skill sets. What about leadership? Can I become a manager, right? For me to do that, I need to be able to lead people. Those are all new skill sets. If I want to grow with the company, it's not because I've been there for a certain amount of years that I now deserve the next raise or the next position or promotion, right? Like, I need to grow the skills in order to move and really provide more value to the company. So what can I do next?
So I guess it makes me think of our journey. So we both were servers. We worked in the restaurant industry for, about a decade. And so because of that, we learned great communication skills. I mean, we were communicating with people our entire shift, our employee, other staff members, our managers. We were also communicating with, individuals that would come in for customers. And so I think because we've had that communication skills, we were able to take that, and then we started our business, which, granted, it was a different communication style or a way to communicate with potential people we were purchasing houses from. So it definitely was a different script that we'd follow and such. But I think because we honed in our skill at the restaurant, we were able to take that and then move it to our business. And so now that when we had our business, we went through so many different hurdles to learn, right? There were so many different things we had to learn, sales and marketing, and how to even convert a house. We didn't even know how to do that, how to compile how much things are going to be. And so there were just different skills we had to hone in on. And so I think we took that and then we were able to move over that to our next business. And so it kind of just like was a ladder. And I don't want to say that because I feel like that's kind of an employee mentality, but it was a ladder not to make more money. It was a ladder building on each skill. And I think each skill just built on top of the next. And so you were able to take that to the next thing that you're going to. And so I think not a lot of people think of it that way. They don't think about, oh, I'm acquiring all of these skills in my past positions to now have like a big pot of skills that nobody else has. So you're different than everybody else. And so you're bringing to the table something that someone else can't because they didn't acquire that one skill at that one job that you had a decade ago. And so I think being able to take those skills and also show those skills through an interview or through a resume or through something to a new employer, I think is vital as well.
I think of it like the compounding effect. And you didn't use that word, but as you were describing it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the way I think of it. Because, as we were learning these different skills, had our first business, opened up our second, we were using the skills we learned already from the first business to do the second, right? And then actually got things moving much faster on the second business because we already had a base skill set. So we learned new skill sets on the second. By the time we opened our third business, it was like, well, we have this skill set from this business here, it gave us this skill set. And now it's like, man, we are really moving. Like we have a lot of value that we can provide right out the gate and really be successful right away because realistically, we were becoming like more and more valuable to the marketplace. Like you said, like there was uniqueness to us. And I think that's a really special way to look at it. The more skills you get, the more valuable you are and nobody can replace you. Whether you are an employee working for corporate, and if you can become that, if you can be that person in the business that can do every little thing, that knows the intricacies of how things work, and you're irreplaceable, you're kind of bulletproof there, right? You can learn so much. You can take that exact same thing and go into the business world on the entrepreneurial side, right? And I think that is where I see people getting to huge amounts of wealth. It's really on this side where you start your own company and everyone starts at the beginning, right? Like with, the skills you were taught by your parents. But after you become an adult, if you become a lifetime learner, then it's just continuing to gather new skills. Those skills build on previous skills. And now you're putting things together in a new way. And you become this like BA, just skills machine, right? Like can do all sorts of stuff. To kind of, I guess, put in context here of how you can build these things and become more valuable. We were having our first business, right? House flipping. We were buying a lot of houses. We were doing very well. We were making good money in there. We actually said, hey, we can take those lessons. We can now combine it with these other things. And now we're making many times more money than we were there, which actually is interesting to me because we said, hey, we're going to stop doing these skills that used to make us hundreds of grand a year. Like that's not now worth our time. We have new skills that have combined with previous skills that now a unit of our time is worth 5 to 10 times more than it used to be 5 years ago, right? When you can combine different skills like that, then it's like, well, now you can compound what you can do. And so if you look at some examples of people that we know, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Started as a weightlifter, bodybuilding, and then getting into acting, right? That's a whole new skill set he added there. And then he went into politics, right? You think how many different skills that he learned along those decades to get to where he is. He is an incredibly valuable person. You look at a lot of these people who became very successful in their business or their niche, and then took that and then added skills of communication or marketing or branding, became a celebrity or perhaps were a celebrity and then became a business person by adding a whole new skill set. And these are the people that become billionaires within a few years, right? Because they're super, super unique. They have a unique skill set, some of it being celebrity or brand that nobody can replace. And now they are worth so much in the marketplace that they can come out, release a product, and boom, go to 9 figures within a couple years.
I mean, that's just brand. I mean, as you think about all the people who only have one name, Oprah.
Adele.
I was like, Christ. I know there's
Is there any more? No.
I know there's a ton out there, but you know them by their one distinct name. It's because they've branded themselves that way. And so they've taken their skill, they've honed it, and they've spread it across the marketplace around the world so people know them. And so that's, I mean, gosh, they can make $100 million just by promoting something for another business. So they've definitely honed in on those skills for sure.
Yeah. So as far as application, right? Wherever you're at, I would say if you ask the question, well, what skills do I work on next? What's the best bang for your buck? What is the one thing you can change? And perhaps it's like the bottleneck, right? If you have something you're doing, what is the thing that is stopping you from blowing that up? Is it communication skills? Is it closing more deals? Is it marketing, right? Do you need to add, some other aspect to your business or what you do working for another company? Find that bottleneck, the one thing you can learn that's not going to proportionally increase your income. It's going to exponentially increase your income. And then it's just solving the next thing, right? Like you're going to learn that skill set. You're hopefully going to 2-3x what you're doing, make a disproportionate amount of income by adding a new value to the company. And then whatever it is, 6 months, 12 months later, what's the next bottleneck? The next thing that is stopping me from 2-timing, 3-timing what I'm doing, adding value, right? And let's just solve the next problem at a time, but strategically, not the small problems, the one thing kind of problem that's going to have the best bang for your buck.
It might be, when you said that, it might be your own internal mental struggles, like fear.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it might just be something that you need to work on yourself, not just like a skill you need to really hone in, but I guess that is a skill. Having mental strength is definitely a skill that you can practice. And I think a lot of that comes with, reading books, like spending time, by yourself, maybe reading your Bible or reading a specific book on it. And so I think that's something that is important as well.
Yeah. Another aspect is we're talking about like just making money. That's what we talk about, active income, right? The whole other aspect of it is the passive side, the investing side, right? If you can make all this money, you have a new problem. What do I do with all this money so I don't have to give it to Uncle Sam, right? How do I compound this money? So again, you see a lot of people get into the entrepreneurial space, learn these skills, become very successful, learn new skills to grow their business, and then they have to learn all these other skills, accounting, investing, tax management, all these other things, right? That's how you become round in your skills and very valuable to the marketplace.
I don't really want to become round.
That's okay. I don't like you round
but
either.
You know what I mean? Well, thanks for joining us on another episode of The Donkey and the Bee. We have one ask today. Our one ask is, if this meant something to you, if you learned something from it, if it made a difference in your life, if you could share it. Share it with a coworker, share it with your neighbor, your friend, your mom, your grandpa, whoever you feel needs to hear this. That's our one ask. That's the only way that this message gets out to as many people as possible. Like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.